Hello everybody. Today I'm going to talk about a question that's been a mystery for a long time. Can you use a bass amp for a guitar? If you don't know the answer, stay tuned. And the answer is yes. Of course, everybody's been doing it from like the 1950s. Jazz, especially jazz musicians, have done it. So feel free to subscribe to this channel, which I have is a little bit of music topics and bicycle and maybe a little bit of repair around the house. Whatever I find that can save you money, I'll post it. So feel free to subscribe and comment. Let me know your opinion. Doesn't have to be my opinion, so feel free to comment and disagree or whatever. Okay, so let's start it. So one day I was playing with a band in Miami, and the guitar was I was playing bass, but the guitar player was gonna leave. And I told the leader, and the pianist that I could play the guitar, and I've always played both, guitar and bass, and that I was going to play through my bass amp, and they were completely shocked about this. And actually the pianist told me, "Are you crazy?" Because I wanted to play the guitar through the bass amp. So that's why I'm doing this video, to get rid of that myth once and for all. Okay? Yes, you can use a bass amp for a guitar, and you can use a guitar bass for bass too. But the thing is, the guitar amp is going to distort because it's not going to be designed for bass. On the other hand, the bass amp is going to reproduce the guitar very well and fatter. You're going to get a fatter tone, because you get bigger speakers and you have more wattage, and also you have to take in consideration if you have a bass amp that is older or a modern kind, and I'm going to explain that in a second. But anyway, the type of guitar always also affects the performance. If you're going acoustic or electric, distortion guitar, clean guitar. So let me explain all that. The guitar amps traditionally have small speakers, small wattage, and they're basically open in the back. So they're basically mid-range amplifiers. They don't have tweeters, they don't have woofers. It's only like a mid-range speaker, basically. I'm talking about mid-range, but big mid-range, not just like the mid-range you find on a house speaker. I'm talking about mid-range from maybe 100 hertz to 8K or something. So it gives you treble, it gives you a little bass, because you have bass notes on the guitar, but it's not a full range amp, and that's a disadvantage, because you can only use those amps with electric guitars, because they also have that same chopped frequency range. The electric guitar doesn't have a lot of bass. That's why you hear that dong 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 dong. You don't hear boom boom boom, like an acoustic. And also on the highs, you don't hear that. You hear more of But anyway, it's chopped. So what I'm trying to say is that when you use a bass amp, you might have to tweak the EQ if you want that sound of the guitar amp. Then you have to take out the treble, and the bass, down and just leave mid-range, because the bass amp is going to be a more full range. So if you have an older bass amp like this Trace Elliot that I have, it's not going to have any tweeters. It just has 2 woofers, and it's going to sound like a jazz tone. It's going to give you a jazz fat. So I'm doing this through the mic of the camera. Well, it might be a little out of tune because we're not talking about, this is not a performance, this is about the fact that you can use the amp. So sorry about the air conditioner, but it's like 125 degrees or outside or something, I don't know, 300 or something. So you hear the tone. So that's the tone you get without the tweeter. If I had a modern bass amp which has a tweeter, then it will be brighter. You know, it will be like a PA kind of sound. You know, so see, I'm leaving the guitar the way it comes with only the neck pickup and just volume up. Okay, so there's no tone here. You hear all that bass because the speakers are enclosed and they're woofers, you know. With the acoustic it's gonna be different, because when you play an acoustic guitar, I'm gonna play it just through the mic. That's without the amp. Now I'm gonna plug in, and I'm gonna have to face the guitar away from the mic because otherwise you're gonna be hearing both. But see, what you're gonna hear is a lot of mid-range. You're not gonna. This is gonna sound almost like an electric guitar, so it's not gonna be as clear as because I don't have tweeters. So this is an old amp. I'm just gonna face this way so you don't hear the acoustic with the mic. I'm gonna try to. See, it has a little bit of a darker tone. So for acoustic, you would need a modern bass amp, which has a horn or a tweeter to reproduce those high frequencies that you need with the guitar. Now, if I was using a distortion with this, without the tweeter, it would sound nice and fat and very, you know, like I don't have a pedal right here. So I cannot demonstrate that one. But anyway, what I want to tell you is don't try to make the amp distort with the preamp or the speakers, because if you do that, you're gonna burn the speaker. I had one speaker that I was trying the amp and I took, when musicians like to take things apart and, fix it and change it and see if it can sound better. So I took the speaker out like this, and I connected the amp, and I was playing my guitar. It was a bass speaker, and I couldn't hear anything. It was like so soft, I'm like, of course, because it doesn't have an enclosure, so everything is canceling. When you play through here, the cancellation keeps it really quiet. And so I turned it up and up and up, and then all of a sudden I heard this beautiful distortion. It sounded so cool. It sounded like, wow. And all of a sudden it's like gone. It lasted for like 30 seconds. And what happens is I burnt the coil. So don't do that. Just remember, you're not gonna get distortion from a bass amp. So you have to use a pedal, okay? You have to use some kind of distortion, a preamp or some kind of effect that is already distorted in there, and then you keep the signal clean when you go into the amp, because then the amp is going to just reproduce the distortion from the device that you're using, and it's not going to burn anything. But if you turn it up to try to make it distort like a distortion, you might burn the speakers, because you're also putting a lot of higher frequencies than what the amp can handle. So you don't want that. Just don't do that. So in conclusion, can you use a bass guitar amp for a guitar? Yes, of course you can. You're just gonna get a flatter tone, unless you have a tweeter, and if you still get too fat of a tone, you just EQ out the bass. You cut the bass until you get the sound that you want, and it's possible, and it's been done for over 60, 70 years. So if somebody tells you that you're crazy, tell them no, you are crazy. Okay, so comment, let me know what you think, and please subscribe. I need subscribers so I can get some commercials that they put on the videos, and then I can make residuals. I can make like $2 or something a month, or I don't know how much. It depends on how many commercials you have. But just feel free to subscribe. It's just free, and you'll know if what I do, and you might save some money, right?